questions?
Yeah, questions.
Any?
I have a question.
Yes.
So here I see you in the pictures. So you're the host in these podcasts, or it's not you? It's
That is me. Yeah.
so you're the host. So people would come with an idea, and you start asking them questions.
It's a good question because it is very confusing, right? So I have a podcast, which is you can see here,
Okay.
but my main business is making podcasts for other people.
For others.
For others, yeah. So my podcast, I call it still a hobby. I don't really make much money off of it.
Okay.
We produce my own podcast, but our main business is making podcasts for other people. So these particular pictures, I am in them,
Okay.
but we have done other podcasts for other people where I am not the host. You can hire me to be a host as well.
I don't know. I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
So when you are in charge of a podcast, do you pick everything from A to Z, even the people who are gonna be asking questions, the hosts, and
We
so
can,
it
but
depends.
we generally don't. So generally someone will come to us and they already have a podcast idea. Most of our clients worldwide will record it by themselves online or even in a studio, and they will send us the files, and then we will create the podcast like I showed you from that. We do work with a podcast strategist. She can do the guest management, the guest booking, scripting, all of that. The RMIT one, she did the scripting for that.
So you can do everything, and at the same time you can accommodate.
Yeah, and it's something we have to explain a lot because some people, even this week, some guy got in touch with me. He's like, hey, let's collaborate. I want to make a podcast. And then we sat him down and said, well, if you want to make a podcast, this is what you need to do. It's not just like a simple collaboration. And it's quite confusing as well. Like it's on our website. I liken it to going shopping. You know, you can put as much or as little in the cart as you want. We can do everything from A to Z. So all you need to do is record. For some people, they want to do all that other stuff because it comes down to like the artwork for the thumbnails is like really specific. Doing the show notes, the titles, uploading it, then promoting it. Like there's a lot that goes into making a podcast more than just the recording, but we can do everything if you want us to.
And how often do you do your podcast?
Mine is every week. Yeah, so I actually took a long break from my own podcast 2 years ago because I wanted to focus on the business. So that was another thing I said no to was my own podcast. I got a bit bored of it as well. Like I felt like I was asking the same questions and wasn't really that interesting. So I took a long break, about a year. I'm happy to say my wife is my biggest fan, and she loves, even though she tells me to shut up at home, she loves listening to my podcast. So she'll be on the way to work listening to me talk, which I find quite funny. And she was like, you need to restart it. So eventually I restarted the podcast, and then now we're in the studio making it, and we're refocusing it. We've redone the name, but it can be a lot of work. So the episode that I was playing, I don't know if you saw the episode that was on in the background when you came in, we recorded that yesterday lunchtime, and Tay had it edited by 6 p.m. and we published it at 8 p.m. We don't normally do that. Sometimes we can be weeks ahead, which I'm trying to get weeks ahead, but there are times where we record and publish on the same day, which is testament to the team and how quickly that we can work and how good we are at what we do.
How do you choose your guests for your...
That's a good question. How do you choose your guests? So the biggest thing, I try and interview Vietnamese people is the biggest thing. All right, you ladies will relate to this as well. You will never guess who is the only type of person that has ever asked to be on the podcast.
Sorry, what's the question?
What type of person is the only type of person that has asked to be on the podcast?
White men.
White men.
Yeah.
White men. If I wanted to do a podcast of just me interviewing white men, I would have guests coming out of my ears. I realize I'm a white guy. I'm already 50% of it. And personally, I'm sick of hearing from other white guys. So I even had it like last week, a guy approached me at a networking event. He's like, oh, I'll be on your podcast. They never ask what it's about. They never ask, they never tell you what value they can give. They just say, oh, I'll be on your podcast. I said to this guy, oh, sorry, I only interview Vietnamese people, or mainly interview Vietnamese people. So I actually do have a rule. 1 in 10 are allowed to be a white guy. That is a literal rule. Mainly Vietnamese people. I try and split it 50-50, men and women. I try and interview people from the LGBTQ community as well, people of color, basically non-white guys is the main thing. And again, I realize I'm 50% of it. I know I'm a white guy, so I don't need to do a podcast just talking to more of me. And he said, oh, I identify as Vietnamese. And I was like, well, you're clearly not, you're British. Yeah, exactly. One of those ones, right? Like I identify, well, you're not. And he said, well, but I've got 30 Vietnamese staff. And I went, okay, cool. I'd love to maybe interview one of them. Why? Well, because I wanted to interview Vietnamese people. So he was the rudest I've ever had. Most people accept it and they go, okay. But, so it does make it sometimes challenging to find the right guest, somebody who is not a white guy, because I could do them every day if I wanted.
Who's not your choose them? What's the criteria?
I don't really have one, to be honest. It's just not them, so anyone else. Honestly, like literally.
Honestly, because you want people to relate to something. I mean, it's just someone who has a story to tell, something that would attract you to listen to it.
So the thing is, there's two things. I think everybody has a story. So I give them a questionnaire, a very simple questionnaire before, to tell me 3 things about themselves before the episode, and then I'm going to ask them about those 3 things. And to blow my own horn, I'm very confident now in my skills as an interviewer that I'm going to be able to get that story out of them. So I've never met anyone who doesn't have a good story to share. I don't publicly look for guests because I'm too scared of what will come back, which will probably be a lot of white guys. So I never publicly look for look for guests. Why are you so offended?
No, because it's discriminating for us too. There are some very good white
He
people.
said white man, not white
White
woman.
man, white man.
White
Well, there are some very good ones. There's just so many of them. Like, it's called a Vietnam podcast. I could change the name to like White Expat Podcast, and it would be super successful. There's so many successful. What's that? I could have 2, right? Yeah. So I try and interview people from overseas, but the main thing is to interview Viet Q, Vietnamese people, people of color that live here, people from the LGBTQ community. Try and give diverse voices. So that has been a big plus, and I'm really, really proud of that. Yeah.
Given that you predominantly want Vietnamese people, are you fluent in Vietnamese?
Of course I'm not.
Then how do you communicate? Yeah.
Well, it is an English language podcast, so I mean, we're looking for people who speak English.
So therefore they have to speak English to be
Yeah.
English speaking.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah. Which then narrows it down even more. But I mean, the level of English is incredible. Yes.
So podcasts are a relatively new art form, as you were saying.
Mm.
2014, they really came on the scene. But it seems to me so many people these days are picking up podcasts. So while it's relatively new, it seems like the podcast market can be really saturated with everyone who wants to buy a microphone and start speaking. In your experience, what sort of things are making newer creators stand out in this oversaturated market?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, so first of all, it has this appearance of being oversaturated, but it's still way undersaturated. The way I compare it is if you think about the amount of new Netflix shows that come out, new TV shows on Hulu, Amazon, BBC, all of this, there's never a dearth of television shows, and I've never heard one person say that there's too many television shows. Blogs are the same. There's something like 1 billion blogs in the world. Podcasts, actually, there's only about 250,000 podcasts published every week. So in comparison, podcasting is still tiny. In Vietnam, it's about 6% of people listen to podcasts still. In the US, it's only just over 50%. So, I mean, I've had it recently, people ask me, like, what is a podcast exactly? Like, some people just genuinely don't know. So it's not oversaturated for sure. There's still massive, massive markets out there. How can you stand out though? The biggest thing is not to do a podcast about everything and anything, which is one of the biggest pieces of advice that we give people. There's so many people. You can go on Spotify, go to podcasts, type in everything and anything. You'll find about 1,000 podcasts, all with that name. And people just think, that's why I get people say, oh, I'll be on your podcast, because they think they can just be on it. When it's like, it's about Vietnam. Like, what do you have a story about Vietnam? So the most successful podcasts are where they have a niche, they have a message, and they stick to that. And they do, again, that one thing, right? Don't talk about everything and anything. Like, what's that one thing that you do well? So I think of things, I don't know if anyone's heard this, sounds like a cult podcast. Cult is a difficult word for me to say with a Scottish accent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cult. Yeah. Sounds like a cult. My wife loves that show. It was two women that started a podcast during COVID about different topics and things like this. It's really fun. So I would just say, just choose one thing that you're passionate about, that you're good about, and talk about that, and bring your personality as well.
One question.
Yes?
What made your podcast with RMIT that successful? What did it make? Why did it make you win that award? I mean, what was special about it?
So the RMIT one didn't help us win that award. We won that award first. So that was with another show we did in the US. So this is the thing, podcasts can be about anything. We've done it about knitting.
So the one that helped you with
The one that helped us win the award was about architecture.
Oh.
I don't know, any architects here? Apparently it's a horrible profession. Apparently it's really, really bad.
It's a beautiful profession.
But it's tough.
You're creating something. My best friend is an architect, and I love it.
But apparently, like, the job itself, they get overworked, and so they produced a podcast about the dark side of architecture, and I was able to do, like, add music to it, which was really cool. I was able to give direction to the hosts about doing, like, you know, little inserts when they're like, oh, what you just heard, blah, 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 like, things like this. So we were able to do, like, some really good production on it, and I think that's why we won the award. And I mean, so we sat down as a company last year with our staff, and we came up with our 3 core values, which was, one was quality. So we just focus on always just making a really good podcast. And I can be really picky about things. Sometimes I'm like, you've missed this one little tiny thing that I can hear it makes a noise. So quality is number 1. Number 2 is creativity, which in podcasting doesn't mean, you know, doing something fancy. It might just mean moving the audio 1 second, but it's having the creativity to knowing that moving the audio is going to make it sound better. And then the biggest one, I think the third one, is making a positive difference. So the podcasts that we work with, we want to make sure that they make a positive difference in the world. Because we talked about, I'm not religious, and we've been approached to do some religious podcasts, and some of my team are. And so we had a big discussion about it, and we decided, okay, we will make them, because my inclination was we're not going to make them. But I said, okay, we will make them as long as they are spreading a positive message in their community. And so, for example, we did get approached by one place. They wanted to make a video / podcast promoting the army of that country in a very positive light. I'm not going to get into that, but we turned that one down because I was like, I don't think that's spreading a positive message. So we have quality, creativity, and positivity. So we do have to make that choice sometimes.
Any more questions?
Oh, yeah.
In your free time, do you listen to podcasts? And if
Free
you do,
time? What's that? No, I'm kidding.
Are there any that you enjoy?
I still love podcasts. It's all I do, literally all day, every day. So my favorite is, I'm a big football fan, so I listen to The Rest is Football. So if you're not a football fan, then you might not be interested, but I love The Rest is Football. The other one I got introduced to, yeah, it's a funny name. It's called My Dad Wrote a Porno.
My dad wrote a poem.
Porno. Any word with R in the middle is difficult for a Scottish person to say. Porno. So I got introduced to this recently. I was listening to it on the way here. So what it is, again, having a niche, having a purpose, this guy's dad wrote an erotic literature novel, and gave it to his son. So him and his 2 friends made a podcast where they read it out chapter by chapter. And the 3 friends are what makes it good. They're just so funny. And this came out years ago. I only just got introduced to it like a couple of months ago. I didn't know they toured the world. They played the Sydney Opera House doing this podcast. My Dad Wrote a Porno. But I would absolutely recommend it. It's so, so funny. They're just the hosts are what make it. And that is the thing of a podcast. So that one, Rest is Football. I've been listening to the Erin Patterson trial in Australia. Anyone know about the beef Wellington woman who poisoned her family with beef Wellington? I've been obsessed with that lately. So there was a really good podcast by the Daily Mail. Don't tell anyone it was the Daily Mail podcast, but it was a really good one. My wife loves true crime. She listens to anything true crime. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now, but I can't remember. But yeah, lately, so when I listen to podcasts, I don't listen to anything and everything. I want to listen to something that's really well produced. There's the other one, the Noiser Network. There's the short history of, and every episode is about like the short history of the printing press or the short history of Anne Frank. I'm obsessed with that one lately. And then there was one about the Titanic. I don't know if anyone listened to that one. It was also by the Noiser Network, super professionally produced. It's 10 episodes all about the Titanic. It's called Titanic Ship of Dreams. 100% listen to that one. My wife is obsessed with the Titanic and she learns so much about that. And it goes through, you know, the movie kind of like stops obviously when Jack goes under, spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen it yet. Jack dies, by the way. Yeah, sorry if you didn't know. The movie kind of stops there, but in the podcast it gives you what happened after, which I didn't know about, and it's super, super interesting going through like the survivors and what they went through and when they got to the US and the insurance claims and the court cases and all of this. So that would be the one for me. Titanic Ship of Dreams is an incredible podcast from the Noisler Network. That's a good question. I like that one. Any football fans? Did anyone listen to the rest is football?
Oh, we have enough. My son non-stop is listening all to this football podcast, yeah.
Yeah, I tell my wife about it and she knows who all the people are. And she's like, yeah, I know who Micah Richards is. You tell me about him all the time. But
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Thank you very much.